Welcome everybody to another QB Power Hour. Today's topic is new, brand new, a shiny new tool for us from QuickBooks Online Accountant. It's a practice management tool. Plus we're going to talk about some tools that are in QuickBooks, both desktop and line, to help you manage your clients and your work. So first of all, our agenda, we're going to tell you a little bit about the QB Power Hour and introduce you to the host. We're going to talk about the CPE process as well as ACE credits. And our topics and learning objectives for today, we're going to do a quick review of some features that are in QuickBooks Desktop and QuickBooks Online to help you manage your workflow and your clients. Some of these you may have forgotten about, or maybe you're not using them or you just never knew about them. So we're going to do a quick review of those. Then we've got James with Intuit. He's going to help us discover the brand new QuickBooks Online Accountant practice management and how it can help us as accounting professionals. And like I said, this is a shiny new toy, and you guys are going to love it. So I'm so glad to have you joining us so that you can see it today. We always love new tools, and this is a great one. So a little bit about the QB Power Hour. I know we have quite a few new people joining us today. Thank you for joining us. This is a webinar series that we do every other Thursday normally. We did skip last week because of the tax deadline, and we moved it to today. So we do have another one next week. So there's a little change in the schedule because of the tax deadline. Sometimes we also change the schedule a little bit at Thanksgiving and things like that. But next week on April 27th, we have an ACE course. So it will be approved for ACE, continuing education credits. The topic is going to be profitability margins, understanding them and helping advise your clients on how to improve those. Then on May 11th, we're going to talk more about practice management and talk about some of those features a little more in depth in QuickBooks. Plus, we're going to have Arrow Workflow joining us, so you're going to want to see what they have to offer. And then on May 25th, we're going to be talking about some T-sheets and time tracking, things like that. So normally, though, we do talk about QuickBooks Desktop, QuickBooks Online. Sometimes, like today, we'll talk about some things like practice management. Sometimes we talk about value pricing. So always great content, and glad to have you all joining us. We do want to thank our platinum sponsor, T-Sheets. Everybody knows and loves T-Sheets, so we want to make sure we thank them. They have time tracking and scheduling. They work side by side with us as pro advisors to help businesses operate more efficiently. You can learn more, and remember, you can sign up for a free pro advisor account at tsheets.com. Also, we have another new platinum sponsor that we want to welcome, Arrow Workflow. One of the great things about Arrow is it was designed by other accountants, people like us, and the things that they identified that would help them. So when you're using it, you'll really see that they understand how your firm works and the things that we need. And they've got the ability to integrate some detailed procedures and step-by-step checklists. So it's really amazing. You'll want to check that out. And again, we've got a webinar coming up with them on May 11th. And there's the link to their website, arrowworkflow.com. And then we also have a silver sponsor joining us, HubDoc. Some of you have already used HubDoc, and you know how amazing it is, how it can auto-fetch your client's key financial documents. Think about how much time you spend chasing down bank and credit card statements. HubDoc will fetch those for you, plus do a whole lot more. And just like T-Sheets, you can get a free HubDoc partner account for your practice. So if you go to hubdoc.com/QBPowerHour, and if that link isn't live yet, give them a little bit of time. It will be live soon. They were working on that. And I just want to say thank you to all of our sponsors, and we'll probably be bringing some more on. This allows Hector and I to continue to bring you these webinars free, and the free CPE as well as the free ACE credits, the Advanced Continuing Education credits. So make sure you thank our sponsors for us. They allow us to do this for free. So those of you that don't know me, I am Michelle Long. I am a CPA with my own practice in the Kansas City area. I am an international trainer for Intuit. I absolutely love doing QuickBooks training and consulting. First started training in 1999 and started training for Intuit in 2007, and absolutely love helping accountants and bookkeepers learn more about QuickBooks. You can check out some of the other information there, as well as the social groups. Join us in the LinkedIn group as well as the Facebook group. It's a great way to network with your peers and ask other questions and things like that. Hector, you're here today. I guess you survived tax season.
I'm back. Yes, I did survive it. So glad to be back. I was missing it already. My name is Hector Garcia. I'm a CPA as well and co-host of QB Power Hour. I work and live out of Miami, Florida. I have my own accounting practice, but we mostly, or a lot of the stuff that we do is QuickBooks training. There's my Twitter, there's my email. If you got QuickBooks questions, send them over. I'm pretty good at answering them when they're answerable. Sometimes the questions are not answerable. But very glad to be here. Very excited to see something brand new that I haven't even seen. So.
Yeah, it is. It's new for me too. And James, do you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and say hi and introduce yourself quick?
Sure. Hi guys, I'm James Helms. I'm the Director of Design for the ProConnect unit at Intuit, and I'm going to be the one that walks you guys through the practice management demo today.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, James. So as always, we want to remind you about a few upcoming events. As always, the QBTrainingEvents.com, they have webinars all throughout the month. There is a VCon coming up next week. And then also the live training in various cities. We're starting to hit the road again, starting in May and June. So you want to pay attention to that QB Training Events and see if we're coming to a city near you. Scaling New Heights in Orlando, Florida, a great way to learn a lot more about QuickBooks, get certification training, including advanced certification training. Great conference, love to see you there. And then the one that is our favorite of all, QuickBooks Connect, coming up in November. If you can't attend but just one, I highly recommend QuickBooks Connect. It is amazing. So check those out. We'd love to have you see those, we'd love to see you at those. All right, Hector, you want to talk about CPE?
Sure. If you're a regular attendee of QB Power Hour, you know we email out an email CPE, usually within a week or two. We ask you to give us 3 weeks just in case. I'm the one that personally checks them and sends them, and I'm up to September 30th. So nothing after that. I don't know if we did a webinar between the 30th and today. I don't think so. I think we've been out for 3 weeks. So we should be
Hector,
up to date.
Don't you mean March 30th? You said September.
Oh,
March
sorry,
30th.
I don't know where my head is. Yeah, up to March 30th, we're 100% with CPEs. But the way it works is you have to be logged in live. If you're watching the recording, it doesn't work. You have to be logged in for at least 50 minutes, and these things are an hour long. And there will be 4 polling questions that we will ask you throughout the webinar, and you have to answer at least 3. There's no right or wrong answer. You just have to answer something. And as long as you got 3 out of the 4 or 4 out of the 4 and 50 minutes, we will email that certificate. Now, some webinars have ACE, so that's for advanced pro advisors, and some don't. Today is not an ACE one, but next week's is. Michelle?
Yes, very good. Thank you, Hector. And also, you know, Hector does a great job with the CPE. I want to apologize. I know a lot of you caught that I forgot to update the schedule on the reminder emails that were going out, and I was late in uploading the YouTube from the last one. So I apologize for those things. That's my fault. Now that busy season and everything is over, hopefully we can all get kind of settled back in and back on track. So I apologize about some of those things. And speaking of CPE, let's go ahead and launch our first poll question here. Let's see, did you guys survive tax season? How well did you survive it? You know, I don't even do that many taxes, but you know, I've had some of my own issues lately, and yes, I did extend mine the other day. As always, I never file it in April. I always extend it because I just like to put it off as long as possible. But how well did you guys survive tax season? All right, how well was that? And I'm thrilled to have a lot of you that were joining us during tax season. We had hundreds and hundreds of you joining us, and now with you guys recuperating, hopefully you'll be getting back in the swing of things and ready for the training season and learning new things and helping to improve your practice as we move forward. All right, so remember, the faster you answer this polling question, the faster we can get back to our content. So that allows us to move right along. We've got about 88% of you, so I'm going to give you about another 10 to 15 seconds. So if you need CPE credit, please answer this poll question, okay? Please answer this poll question. All right, I'm going to give you 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're done. All right, let's see how you guys did here. We got 14% of you barely survived, 31% not bad, 18% of you are fine. You slept all day yesterday. Good for you. 32% said no problem, I don't do taxes, and 5% don't work with clients or maybe not in the tax industry. Very good. Yeah, we get a lot of students on here as well. So we're glad to have all of you joining us here. Okay, so first of all, today's topic is practice management. I wanted to make sure that you remembered a few things that are available for you in QuickBooks Desktop, and then we'll talk about QuickBooks Online. So in QuickBooks Desktop, I don't know if you remember this or if you've used this. A lot of people may just overlook it. The QuickBooks File Manager. This is under the Accountant menu. You'll go down towards the bottom. You'll see it there in green where it says File Manager. This QuickBooks File Manager helps you manage all the hundreds of QuickBooks desktop files that you may have on your computer. And one of the things that's challenging is, the client sends you a file and you're like, well, what version is that? Are they using QuickBooks 2015 or 2016? How do you manage all those passwords? How do you upgrade a bunch of them at one time? So we've got this QuickBooks File Manager that allows us to search your computer, and it will find all of the QuickBooks files you have out there, whether it's a working copy file, an accountant's copy, a backup copy, or a portable copy. And it will group them. So you see it here on the right side, it'll group them by company files as QBW, accountant's copy files, and backup and portable files. So it helps us to manage these files. It also, if you'll notice over there on the far right, it will show you what version of QuickBooks it is. That's one of the things that you want to make sure you don't upgrade a client. Like if they're using 2015 and you open that company file in 2016 or 17, as you know, you're not going to be able to send it back to them. So this helps prevent some of those mistakes and help you to manage your files. You can create different groups of your clients to help manage them. Up here you'll see clients and groups. Also then we've got that password vault. Allows you to help keep all these passwords in one central location, especially now with the secure passwords that you have to have and change frequently. That really helps. And then also batch upgrading. If you've got a whole bunch of clients that are upgrading, let's say from 2014 to 2017, you can select those, tell it to upgrade, go home for the night, and let it upgrade them all at one time for you. So it's a big time saver. So we've got that file manager. Hopefully some of you have been using that. Then also, this is my favorite, the client data review. Under the accountant's menu, you'll see client data review. You've got all of these tools out here that will help us with client data review. And what I've discovered in presenting in these various, training sessions that we do all across the U.S., a lot of the accountants don't know about these tools that are available in client data review. These are the greatest things since sliced bread. They will help find and fix mistakes fast for you. Things like that reclassified transactions, clearing up the undeposited funds account, fixing sales taxes that are paid incorrectly. So check these out if you haven't used them. But the client data review in general, so let me go ahead and show you what it looks like. This also allows you to manage your review of the QuickBooks company. Now when we're talking about review here, I'm not talking about like CPAs who do compilations, reviews, and audits. It's not that kind of a review. It's a review of the QuickBooks data file, looking for problems and mistakes, helping find and fix those things. So in the client data review, you'll notice here in the box, we can track our status. And I close the detail on all these other categories, but each one of these, like reviewing the list changes, accounts receivable, accounts payable, they all have tools and tasks underneath them to help go through and clean up a client file. And you can track the status of those tasks and then put task notes out here as well. See, the first two have notes on it. The last one here, because it's kind of blank, that one doesn't have any notes. So we have individual task management here, as well as putting some notes out there. And then over here, we've got some overall review notes. And then we can also save this as a PDF to document your work. So this is a great tool for some of us that are using the desktop files to help, especially, like at year end, to help go through and make sure that you're looking at all areas of that desktop file for problems and mistakes and things that need to be cleaned up. And it's also a great way to just kind of track our progress and document and use some notes out there. So I have another poll question for you here. Have you used client data review? Have you used the client data review? And I see Patricia saying, is there something comparable in QuickBooks Online? Well, Patricia, right now, QuickBooks Online does have some of the accountant tools that they have in the desktop client data review, such as the reclassified transactions, the write-off invoices. It's not as extensive as this, but what a QuickBooks Online Accountant is getting now is this new practice management that James is going to share with you in a little bit that is even better than this client data review, because here you can kind of track the status of a task, but you can't really see it or manage those deadlines or due dates or anything. James is going to show you a little bit later how you can actually see these are the tasks that are due this week and next week and things like that. So it's way more powerful than what we have in client data review here. Somebody's asking if it's available in Mac. No, there's no accountant in Mac. This is in QuickBooks Desktop Accountant. And also, if you've got someone who, let's say you're the CPA and you are the accountant or bookkeeper for a client, and you're using QuickBooks Accountant in your office, but you're remotely logging into your client, or gosh, maybe you still go on site and you're using your client's QuickBooks Pro or QuickBooks Premier, but it's not the accountant version, you can log into that under the company menu, but you have to log in as a pro advisor to have access to that. If you're not a pro advisor, you won't have access to those tools in Pro or Premier. If you are a pro advisor, go under the company menu and look for your accountant toolbox when you're in Pro or Premier, sign in, and then you can have access to that. Okay, a few more seconds on this poll question. Remember, if you need CPE credit, please answer this poll question for me. I'm going to give you 5 more seconds. Last call on this poll question. Going, gone. Okay, 35% of you did not know about this. Yay! Hopefully it's going to save you some time by learning about it today. 15% of you didn't know how to use it. 7% don't see the need for it. 30% have used some of these tools, and 13% of you love it and like it. So that's great. Awesome. So those of you that didn't know about it or how to use it, hopefully this will spark your interest and you can learn some more about it. Actually, on my YouTube channel, I think it was a year or two ago, a couple of years ago, I did one on client data review, and I went through using all the tools in it and things like that. So go look at some of my older videos. If you go to YouTube and look for Michelle Long CPA, you'll find that out there. All right, quickly, let's talk about QuickBooks Online Accountant and some of the tools that we have out here for this. QuickBooks Online Accountant, we have our client dashboard. With our client dashboard here, this is giving us some alerts and things like that that we need for managing our clients. You can see we have bookkeeping alerts, payroll alerts, and then also over here you've got this tax area if you're using the working trial balance and preparing the taxes in ProConnect Tax Online. So under the bookkeeping and payroll there, you're going to see some alerts in the status. You'll see, how many transactions have been downloaded that haven't been worked with. Are there any changes to closed books? You can see one of them here is a check without a payee. So you've got lots of alerts here right on your dashboard to help you kind of monitor the activity. You've got some items due under payroll, so you can monitor some due dates there on taxes. So it's kind of a high-level review for you. Or if you clicked on an individual client and you go into the details, there you can see some more information like the last date reconciled. And again, on the far right, you can see those things that need to be reviewed in QuickBooks. So there's some cool stuff that's available here on our dashboard for us that help you to kind of manage your clients, pay attention to what's going on, especially like if the bank feed is not downloading, you can always see the last downloaded date in the client details here or on your dashboard. Maybe something happened. So if you see the date is old, you might need to fix that bank feed. Or if you notice that there's lots of transactions that have been downloaded and aren't being processed, what's going on? Does the client need help? Are they on vacation? Or maybe it's your staff or your responsibility. You can kind of see when somebody's getting behind and monitor that activity from looking at that dashboard. So that's something else to keep in mind there. Somebody says, how can I see the dashboard? That is in QuickBooks Online Accountant. So once you're in QBOA, on the left navigation bar under your practice, you would click on clients, and you're going to see that over there. And by the way, QBOA, QuickBooks Online Accountant, is free for accounting professionals. All you need to do, if you're not signed up for the Pro Advisor program yet, or you don't have QBOA, go out to QuickBooks.com. Under For Accountants, you'll see QuickBooks Online Accountant. go ahead and sign up for that. It's free if, for accounting professionals working with multiple clients. You can sign up for QuickBooks Online Accountants for free, as well as then it'll sign you up for the Pro Advisor program for QuickBooks Online. So if you haven't done that yet, that's something you might want to consider. Okay, so let's go ahead. I know we had 3 poll questions, kind of quick together here, but we do have another poll question for you. How do you like the client dashboard? How do you like the client dashboard in QuickBooks Online Accountant? And if you say something in there you wish you could see some more, or if you've got suggestions, go ahead and type those in the Q&A box. If you've got additional questions or input or suggestions on additional things that you'd like, go ahead and put those in there. That way Intuit will share these comments and feedback with them, so you can check that out. All right, so go ahead and put that in there. Maria says, I have desktop. Right, so then you would be able to use the file manager and client data review. You wouldn't have this dashboard. And then somebody's asking about QBO and special pricing for write-up, no client access. Scott, as accounting professionals, we can sign up for the wholesale pricing, the wholesale discount, which gives us a 50% discount on our subscriptions. So that might be something that you'd want to check out. And actually, I just did a webinar on pricing with the wholesale discount. If anybody wants to check that out, we talked about value pricing and bundling with the QuickBooks wholesale discount. That is on my YouTube channel as well. Okay, again, the faster you answer this question, the faster we can move along. So please go ahead and answer that. Oh, Brent. Hey, Brent. Good to see you on here. I know Brent. He says, I wish I could add my own tasks to the clients on the dashboard. Brent, wait till you see what James is going to show you. I think you're going to love it. They gave me a sneak peek. I've been playing with it a little bit. It's pretty cool. So stay tuned. That's coming next. All right. 5 more seconds. Last call to answer this poll question. If you need CPE credits, please answer that poll question. And this is a good question here. I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Can I log into Accountant on Desktop Premier? If you're a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, that's the free Pro Advisor program. You get all the stuff that goes along with QuickBooks Online. If you want QuickBooks Accountant Desktop and access to the desktop tools that we talked about, like client data review, you need to join the paid Pro Advisor program. The deluxe one will give you QuickBooks Accountant, and then you could log in and access all those client data review tools and things like that with desktop files. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close the CPE and share the results quickly. 23% of you love it, 21% like it, 38% think it's okay, 14% don't use it, and then 4% don't work with multiple clients. All right, thank you all for that as well. And now it's time. I feel like we need a drum roll here. James, are you ready to take over and share this shiny new toy with us today?
I sure am.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to James. All right, you should be getting that where you can take over and share your screen. And we'll talk more, those of you, we went through some of the stuff and the tools that are already available. We can cover some more of that when we're talking more about workflow on May 11th, so you may want to make sure to join us for that one. All right, James, I can see your screen, so I'm going to go ahead and mute myself and let you take it away.
Awesome. Thanks for joining, everybody. I'm super excited to share this with you. Again, my name's James Helms, and I'm the Director of Design focused on accountant experiences here at Intuit. I'm thrilled to share our version 1 practice management experience. Want to emphasize that this is a version 1. We are committed to continuing to improve and deliver more and more functionality against this experience in the future, but we're really excited about the piece that we've got so far. One of the big reasons that we're so excited about it is because like all Intuit product experiences, we spend a lot of time studying our customers and making sure that we're using accountant insights to help lead us to the biggest pains and therefore the biggest opportunities for great experiences. There were 3 really big pains that we observed in interacting with accountants that led us to the experience I'm about to share. I just want to walk through those real quick and hopefully these resonate with you. For one thing, what we saw was that it was really deadline driven, and there are a lot of deadlines to have to deal with. For instance, the deadlines associated with payroll, there's just 10 of them, maybe more than that, that show up with that one, just closing out that one job. And multiply that by, let's say you've got 30 clients, and then multiply that by jobs that you do other than payroll, and all of a sudden you're talking about tons and tons of work and tons of deadlines to manage. And every one of those deadlines is important, and missing even one of those deadlines could really result in a lot of apologies, could result in financial implications, and of course could result in damaging your client relationships in a way that you can't get them back. We are fully aware that those kind of that kind of pressure is on you. The second one is that there's a lot of different kinds of tools and processes that you guys are using to try to solve these problems, to make sure that things don't slip through the cracks. So whether it's using spreadsheets, or whether it's, you know, paying for some extra tool to track this stuff, whether you've got a big whiteboard in your office that you're using to track who's doing what and when, whether you're just, you know, spending a ton of time getting together in meetings to share out what the work is. There's a lot of time and a lot of effort that just goes into providing line of sight to those deadlines and what's coming up and who's doing it. And then lastly, all of that is time wasted managing those tools, keeping them all updated. There's lots of different places that you may have to update these things, and almost as fast as you update them, they're out of date, because as soon as people do the work, now you got to go back to that whiteboard and erase it and update it. And so it's really hard to determine, well, how done is this? Are we still waiting for this to get done? Did somebody update this tool? I've got a different answer in this thing than I do in this one. So there's just a ton of maintenance that's just work to do the work. So we came up with practice management, really addressing the first of these big needs around helping you create and track jobs, tasks that are associated with those jobs, and creating the ability to create requests that you can push out to your clients and get responses back from them, whether it's with documents or whether it's with answers to questions. So these three aspects you'll find in the work section of QuickBooks Online Accountant. And what we wanted to call out here is also, this is we're building this in such a way that you'll be able to access this experience from your phone too. And with that, I'm going to give you a sense of what it looks like live. Michelle, everybody can still see what I'm doing?
Yes, yeah, I can still see you.
Awesome. Okay, so this is QuickBooks Online Accountant. I think that we were just looking at the client list experience. This is pretty much what...
Real quick, can you maximize the window?
Can you make it, James,
zoom?
can you make it bigger, please?
Let me see.
You know, we're accountants, we can't see that tiny little stuff. If you could make it bigger and maybe maximize that screen, that would be helpful.
How's that?
That's getting better. Can you make that whole screen, full screen on your Mac there? Yeah, that's getting better. That's getting better. Thank you.
All right. Sorry, guys. Here you go. All right. So here's the client list that we were talking about before. You can see over here we've got this tab for work. We're also going to be calling out that, hey, there's a way to track and manage stuff for your firm all in one place. This is the work dashboard. This gives you access to jobs and tasks and requests from clients and a couple other special things that I'm going to show you in a second. But I wanted to walk you around real quick and show you that this big view of work can be filtered by client. It can be filtered by who's working on this work. It can be filtered by jobs, tasks, requests, or all items. And then the other thing that's super cool is we're also starting to use the information that we have about you and your clients to create extra jobs that you can go, not extra jobs, but to surface jobs before you even create them. So for instance, if we know that you have payroll clients, we can actually start to anticipate that work and let you know. And these you can turn on and off with this little switch from QuickBooks. So you can turn those off if you don't think they're helpful, or you can turn them on, and then you can turn those into jobs that you'll do. They have deep links to go out and do that work. So let me show you a little bit about how it feels to create a new job. So here, I'm going to create a new job, and that is do Bob's taxes. I'm going to pick the client that that's for. I'm going to pick a due date. I'm going to assign this to one of my accountants, and I'm going to, we'll keep that as to do. Bob's taxes. Do it right. I'm going to add tasks in here, including close books. We can save that. So now we can see that we have added Bob's taxes in here. I can open it back up. I can see the tasks that are associated with it. I can also see that close books, that task has also been added in here. I can go back in here later and I can say, oh, actually, I want to assign this to somebody else. I just remembered she's going to be on vacation. I can change the date. I can change the status of that job. All right, so then the other thing I can do is I can create a request. Now this is really interesting because what we're going to be able to do is create a task, but it's a task for your clients. So this is actually, I need your bank statement. And I need that by the 25th. I need this to get started. If I wanted to, I could actually attach a document here and send it to them. For instance, this is what it looks like. And now, see this little note down here that says notify client? I have two choices here. I can notify the client, which will basically create an email, and I'm going to show you that experience in a second. Or I can turn this off, and I can just publish this to the client's QuickBooks, and when they open up the books, they will find a new request from me right in their books. That's going to happen both ways. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish this. I'm going to have a chance to both edit this message. I need to get this started. You're my favorite client. I can see exactly what that email is going to look like, and then I can publish and send that email. And you can see I've sent that, and it's showing up in that client's QuickBooks. So when that client goes to their books, they're going to have a new section called My Account, My Accountant, which is you. And when they go in there, they'll be able to see requests, and they'll also be able to keep track of documents that you've shared with them and documents that they've shared with you. So we're really enabling you to reach out and get the work done faster and set expectations around what to do next. So let me give you a little bit of the update of where we are. What we've done with this experience is we have it in beta right now, which means we're sharing it with a select number of accountants, about 50 in about 5 countries, including obviously the United States, the UK, in Canada, Australia, and in France. It'll be released to the public in a few weeks. We just want to make sure that all the that everything's working the way it should, and that we don't have any big breakages that are going to make that a terrible experience for you guys. So we want to make sure we do it right. So we're going to do it careful. As I mentioned before, this is just the first piece. We have lots of improvements that are lined up, and we're actually already thinking about the next pieces that we're going to lay on top of this work. Some of the first things that we heard from people were the ability to make some of these tasks recurring and the ability to create templates that you can use over and over again. And while that work won't be in our V1 necessarily, it'll be a fast follow. And obviously, we are always looking to be inspired by our customers, and so we will continue to take your feedback very seriously, and then also the feedback of just going out, reaching out, and watching customers work to inform what we do next.
So,
go ahead.
So I'm sorry, James. So we did have a couple of good questions. I know you've got more to share, but this can be used for desktop clients. How can this work with desktop clients in addition to our online clients?
So you can create jobs and create client requests. I'm sorry, you can create jobs, you can create tasks that can be managed here, and you can assign those out to your team. So this is all about everybody on your team has access to this same experience and will have the view of what the work is that they need to get done. The limitations right now on the desktop experience are that we won't necessarily be getting these automatic feeds from that experience, and we won't be able to create the request experience that lives inside their instance of QuickBooks the way we can with our online customers.
Okay, so we will be able to track those tasks and those jobs and things like that. That's kind of nice.
Absolutely.
Now,
yeah.
So speaking of tasks and jobs, one of the other questions that came up, people are kind of confused by the terminology job, because a lot of us think of that as job costing with our customers, but in here a job is like the job we have to do, like a project, like we have to clean up the books and prepare for year end. So that might be the job, and then the taxes might be reconciled, verify AR or AP or things like that. Is that correct?
That's right. So when I talked about the job of doing payroll, that idea that there are actually 10 deadlines that sit inside completing the bigger job of payroll, that's the idea, is that you would create all of and assign all of the tasks that are associated with that job so that you can track them, and then as they get done, you know how much progress you're making, and you'll also see over here on the left that things that are going past due become instantly prioritized, right? So if today is the 20th and we're looking at a due date of the 18th, obviously that's something that we need to address immediately, and so we are going to make that the most important item on the screen.
Okay, and so James, it sounds like we may need to clarify some of that stuff. Thank you, Woody. Woody is saying that it's not for desktop clients at this time. It's only our QBO clients is an option when we choose to create a job. So thank you, Woody, for clarifying that. So I guess
Michelle,
when we're creating a new...
Can I ask James some questions as well? Are you finished with yours?
Yeah, go ahead, Hector.
Okay, one, getting a couple of questions about, is this fully replacing a practice management tool like Arrow, Jetpack, and one of those, and those that have already, sorry, that already been used in a lot of practices. And some of the comments are that so far what we've seen, and of course we haven't given James a chance to showcase the whole thing, and as he says, it's just version 1. So far we've seen is it's the ability to create jobs, create tasks, and organize them in this schedule format. But there's a lot more in-depth, quote unquote, practice management needs, like time tracking, like budgeting for time, and that sort of thing. Is your intention to replace a practice management tool that's in the market, or is your intention to maybe work with some of the smaller firms that need a much more simple, not overly complex solution?
That's a great question, and it's got several different pieces to it. The question around, is this designed to replace anything like Arrow? This is designed to bring work that is typically done somewhere else right into your books, so that you can track the work in the same place that you do the work. I fully expect that we will be partnering with our third-party partners to look at ways that we can integrate the kind of work that's done in those third-party apps, and it will start to show up as part of our practice management solution. Secondarily, yes, there are lots of other aspects of practice management. We've called out the ability to manage your clients and the ability to manage your workload in your firm and the utilization of your employees as huge opportunities. And that work is also being looked at right now. This is just the first little piece that we're putting out there.
The other question comes from a ProTax Connect user saying that the ProTax Connect has done a really good job at like sort of question management, right? Like I got my client questions and my answers and my document request management. Is also the intention of this tool to solve for that, or maybe steal a little bit from the good things from PTO into this solution as well? In other words, is the question management, the communication management, and document management going to be part of the solution you're going to solve for?
Yeah, that's a great question too. So we are absolutely looking at how do we take things like client requests and customize them around specific tax events, like the what is currently the Lync experience, where you can create a list of requests and a list of questions to have your customers answer them. So it's a great question, and the idea is that these things will work together and that you'll be able to do all of that work from QBOA.
And James, where are the documents stored and how secure is that and stuff? Like if we request documents from our clients, is this integrated with Box like it used to be, or how's that working?
It's not integrated with Box anymore. We are first and foremost storing things in a secure way that makes it a safe place to put sensitive documents. Secondarily, we will look at ways that we might expand the capability of document management to serve the needs of accountants that either have third-party solutions that they use, but currently we will be managing it ourselves in a secure way that both the accountant and their clients will be able to get access to the files that they've put in there.
Very good. And so, James, under Create Job, there's the little, it looks like a little mobile icon. Is that the phone icon, and what does that do, and what's it there for?
That is literally, that will not be showing up in your version of QuickBooks Online Accountant. That's just mine, so that I can give you guys a quick view of what it looks like as a mobile.
Oh, cool. Show us that. That's cool. I like that.
This is about as much as you'll see in terms of the demo here. We just basically spring up a shop.
Okay.
Again, the ability to create a job, to create a request, to manage those jobs, and including the ability to reassign, to redate, and to change the progress of those jobs will all be able to be managed mobilely.
Awesome. So once these jobs are complete, like I saw on the dashboard, some of them said completed. How do we get the completed ones off there? Can you tell it you don't want to see those? And then also, is there a history? Like at the end of this, could we go back out and, you know, have a history of all the tasks that were involved with a particular job and things like that?
So first of all, we're looking at a second view of this card view that we're seeing right here that will be more of a list view that will show you well beyond 30 days so that we can really sort of show you everything. Secondarily, currently we are not showing completed jobs, but we're working on the ability to take you back and show you history of all the work that was done there.
And can we assign tasks to particular team members?
Absolutely.
Oh, cool. And then also, like you mentioned payroll, how with payroll goes along a whole lot of tasks and due dates and things like that. Are there templates to where if we want to say this is a monthly payroll client or this is a quarterly or biweekly or whatever, are there templates so that we don't have to set up these tasks all the time? I know you addressed the question of recurring, but what about templates for jobs that we do for multiple clients?
Excellent question. We are all over that as an improvement to this experience. We knew that was going to be something that people were going to want to, that people were going to want, and when we put the beta out, it was basically the first request that our accountant participants had, and we are all over that experience right now, looking at ways to either create another set of jobs based on a job you already have, or create templates that you can use over and over again. So we're looking at examples of how to scale these jobs and tasks for, repetitive use, and to basically use those jobs over and over again for different clients.
Okay, so I guess we have to remember this is a first version, right? It's V1. As accountants, we see it, we get all excited, and we want it to do everything right now. So if we can't do those templates yet and stuff, can we at least copy? Eileen put this out. Could we at least copy in an existing job with the tasks?
That's exactly one of the ideas that sits around the idea of templates, is basically basing a new set of jobs on an existing set of jobs. So no, not yet, but yes, great idea, and one that, like I said, we're hearing from accountants over and over again. What I would say is using this experience is going to be key for us to understand better about exactly where and how to improve it in the best and fastest way possible. So even though those things are not yet, I think that those are just the tip of the iceberg of the awesome things that we're going to be able to do to improve this experience over time.
So James, in the bottom left corner on the April 20th need March bank statements, down in the bottom there's these little icons. That one looks like a little chat. Is that messages? What are those little icons down there? Is that messaging like between us and, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So this is a client request, and so what we can see in here is we can see whether they've attached files or whether they've sent us any kind of comments back on that particular request. So this is open communication between me and my client that's contextually relevant to needing the March bank statements. So I will be able to see if they've sent any comments or if they've attached any documents. The other thing that we're indicating down here is whether or not we sent an email along with that request when we send it to them. So not sent is just that no email was sent.
So on that, under comments, have a conversation with your client. Is that going to be emailing back and forth so we have that whole history right here? We don't have to go into our email. Is that correct?
That's exactly right.
I love that. And then we also had questions about, will this integrate with our calendars like Google Calendar or Outlook, or is this totally separate, or does it integrate? Or can it integrate?
So Intuit and QuickBooks are actually into some really interesting partnerships with Google right now around email and calendar. And so while that is not going to be in our V1, I fully anticipate that we'll be looking for ways to weave those things together in the future.
Okay, cool. Hector, did you have more questions or comments?
Yeah, I do. And by the way, James, these questions also read between the lines. They're not just questions. They're their anxiety that people have around issues that they want to solve for. So they're also kind of suggestions. So a few people are saying, I do my time tracking with T-sheets. Do you have in your roadmap to take some of the good data that we record in T-sheets and bring them into the tasks somehow, so I don't have to put stuff in T-sheets and here as well? Wonder if that makes any sense.
That's a great question. So I've had a really awesome conversation just this week with the T-sheets guys, and they are chomping at the bit to show us exactly how they would integrate their data inside this experience and other things that we're thinking about doing in the future. Like I said before, we are huge fans of our third-party app developers, and we're always looking for ways to have their experiences feed into and add value and insights to our experiences. And so, again, yes, great idea, not yet, but we are already talking to those guys, and they are super excited like we are to start to unlock the possibilities of partnership.
On the same sort of theme, on document requests, a lot of us I would probably say 70 to 80% of us in this call are using HubDoc, because we don't have to deal with requesting documents from clients. I mean, I remember those days, horrible. So it would be interesting if you can do a document request from here, but not to ask the client for it, to ask HubDoc for it, or be able to browse HubDoc and link it here somehow, so we don't have to. So we can use HubDoc as a system to fetch the bank statements for us. But then once we go in the task, we can pull them straight from here instead of having to go to HubDoc to pull them. So I don't know if you're familiar with HubDoc, but it pulls the documents directly from the bank. So it would be nice to have them linked somehow so we can get those statements to be linked to the task of reconciling. So I don't know if you have that in your roadmap.
That's a great example of another partnership that we look forward to exploring how we can work together better with those guys. Anything that is in the service to reducing the amount of work that an accountant has to do to get this work done, and anything we can do to make to get that data into the books faster and with less effort and with less worry. That's the kind of stuff that we're focused on right now. So that's a great example of another partnership that we're in the process of exploring.
Okay, James, I have more questions, but I'll give you the microphone back so you can finish the rest of the presentation.
Oh, I'll be honest. I think that you answered every other question that or every other thing or you asked your way through all of the rest of the stuff that I was going to share with you guys.
Okay, so let me go. Michelle, do I have a few more minutes?
Well, James, let me go ahead and take the screen back from you because I know James has a hard stop. One of the things that, James, I know you wanted to make sure was this slide here that I'm showing now about if people are interested, because I know I saw some people saying, hey, how can I beta test this? We saw a lot of people giving feedback. So we've got the slide up with their email address. Do you want to talk to them about that quickly, James?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we're always looking for our accountant partners to provide their expertise and input to help us make this as good as possible. If you're interested in being we will probably not be adding people to the beta because we're sort of most of the way through that, but we will be actively looking for accountants to provide ongoing input and let us come either watch you use the product or have you provide your feedback to us. And so this email is a great place to reach out and get into our sphere of influence.
Very good. Well, thank you, James. I know you've got a hard stop, so thank you very much for joining us, James, and we appreciate that. The rest of you, we still do have another poll question and stuff, and I do want to let everyone know we had hundreds and hundreds of you, and a lot of you were typing in questions and comments and things like that, and we just simply could not get all of those answered, but I will provide Intuit. They will be getting a list of all the comments and questions that you all typed in so that they will be hearing what you're saying and And like James said, if you want to communicate with them, email there under practicemanagement@intuit.com. And keep in mind, I know, and I love the enthusiasm. People are saying, can I do this? Can I do that? Can I do templates? I want recurring. I want this. So, I mean, I think that shows us that we're all interested in something like this. But we need to keep in mind this is version 1, and that, you know, they will keep rolling things out based on our feedback. They really do listen to us. As he mentioned at the beginning, you know, the challenges that we face, they get that, and they really are trying to help us. So I think that's awesome. Let's go ahead. Hector, did you want to add anything before I do the final poll question and the wrap-up?
Yeah, sure. So one thing I wanted to say is I use a different practice management tool. I use one called Arrow. And of course, I would love not have to pay for the tool and use Intuit's one, but you know, my practice, it's already requires a lot of these things that people are asking for. And from some of the things I kind of read between the lines is that Intuit doesn't really want to step over the toes of current partners building well-established tools. So I see Intuit going into the direction of solving the issue for some of the smaller firms, 2 or 3 person firms that are not looking for that heavy practice management, deep reporting, client grouping, subtask management, efficiency, productivity, all that stuff. So I love the way it's going, but I don't want people to get discouraged from using a task manager. I mean, a practice management tool that could really fully help them if they're a little bit of a more developed practice.
And that's a good point, Hector. We will be talking more about practice management and having Arrow Workflow joining us on May 11th. We're thrilled to have Arrow Workflow as one of our platinum sponsors now, so you might want to make sure that you join us for that webinar on May 11th. Again, next week, on April 27th, next week, we have an ACE one. The topic's going to be understanding and advising on profitability margins, helping you guys to understand what the profitability margins are and how you can help advise your clients on improving those profitability margins. So it's a little different topic. Some of you that are CPAs or accountants with a 4-year degree, it might be review for you, but some of you as bookkeepers or consultants may not have had this before, so it might be something very beneficial to you. It is an ACE approved webinar, so you want to join us for that. Then on May 25th, we've got T-Sheets joining us, again, one of our platinum sponsors that we really appreciate having them be a platinum sponsor. So make sure you put those dates on your calendar. I'm going to go ahead and launch the final poll question for those of you that have to get off. What are your thoughts about the new practice management? What do you think based on your sneak peek and preview of it today? Go ahead and answer that. Hector, you want to say anything while they're doing the poll question? Hector?
Yeah, I was muted. Sorry. Look, I saw sketches of this at the at an Intuit event. It wasn't something that you could click on and stuff. And I remember a lot of sort of mixed reviews about what it does, because this is the first webinar in which I've seen that we have over 200 questions. It's unbelievable. This has been the busiest one in terms of feedback and questions. So there's obviously a lot of energy around this, and and I do have some anxiety to see Intuit get this done right, because practice management, it's a big commitment. Now, I don't think James mentioned it, but I think there's no price tag next to this, correct? I mean, is this going to be a free product included with QBOA, or was there a price tag next to it?
No, that's right. It will be free.
Exactly. So we're starting off with the right track, I would say. So yeah. For most people, it's not such a humongous commitment, not just the investment, and it's right there, it's integrated. So it's going to be exciting to see people test it out, and if it doesn't work yet, then you use another practice management tool. But I really encourage Intuit to keep this free, though, at least at the beginning, while we'll iron out the kinks.
Right. Well, and one of the other things that I just saw somebody posting in there, somebody said, I don't need a robust practice management app. I've got a smaller practice, a basic tool, the free QBOA tool, practice management, might work for them, whereas other people, like Hector, if you've got a bigger office with more clients and more tasks and more jobs, you may need something more robust like Arrow Workflow. So I think it's great that we have different options for people based on their needs. I would expect the QuickBooks practice management to keep getting better. So I look forward to seeing more from it in the future. Last call on that poll question. You've got just a couple seconds if you need to answer that before I close that poll question. So 3, 2, last call. Gone. All right, 60% of you said it was cool and looked promising. 13% said, wow, I love it already. 21% were neutral. So thank you all for answering that poll question. And again, remember, help us thank our platinum sponsors, T-Sheets and Arrow. T-Sheets is the amazing time tracking and Arrow workflow management. Both of these platinum sponsors are going to be joining us in May for webinars, so we'd love to have you join us for those. And then also our new silver sponsor was HubDoc, so make sure you thank our sponsors. They're the ones that allow us to continue doing this for free, giving you the CPE credit and the ACE credit as well. Hector, anything else that you'd like to add?
No, that's it. I'm just excited to be back and survive the tax season.
It is really good to have you back, Hector. And a couple of the comments that I saw in here were pretty funny. Somebody said when James was demoing the practice management tool, they said, my spreadsheet is going to miss me. And Laura just posted, this beats using an Excel file. So yeah, for a lot of people that have been doing it that way, this tool is going to be great. And yes, Hector, it's very good to have you back from tax season. Now I know you're busy moving, so we won't see you next week, but it is good to have you back on here and have everybody joining us. Again, this will be recorded, and we'll post that recording out there. And you can continue the discussion and conversation in the Facebook group. Just go to Facebook and search for QuickBooks QB Power Hour, and we'd love to have you join us there or in the LinkedIn group. Anything else you want to add, Hector?
No, that's it. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.